Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little bit late today. Harley is refusing to sleep, and I thought that if I just nursed her for long enough, that um, she would eventually fall asleep. But as you can see, she has no intention whatsoever of chillaxing and being a nice baby. So, yeah. Anyway, hello to all the replay viewers. Thank you for watching. And today, I have an interesting topic, I hope. So, for those who don't know, I'm Zoe, and this is Harley, and we, I suppose, are Born Geek. So, I'm also testing out a new program, so you may notice I've got a watermark now. Fancy, very fancy. Um, anyway, so I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about this idea of being well read or well traveled, and then why does that not apply to gaming? I don't understand. I don't understand. So here's the idea I think behind it. So being well read has always been a sign of being not just smart, because anyone can make time and read books or whatever, but really interested in the world and interested in different kinds of literature, and an intellectual, I think, would be the correct term. Because anybody can sit and read lots and lots of James Patterson or whatever. Anyone can read lots and lots of James Patterson or whatever it might be, and have read a lot of books, but that doesn't necessarily make them well read in the way that we often refer to it. So I thought it would be quite interesting. Books offer a unique view of the world, I think. I think that's why people want you to be well read. They offer intriguing stories and diverse characters, and give you a bit more insight into the world. And the same could be said of traveling. But why is it not the same with gaming? Yes, Harley? Is it frustrating for you as well? Are you saying hello? Why is it not the same in gaming? And I think this stems from the way that games used to be. So, previously, back in many, many decades ago, when games were a relatively new phenomenon, they weren't really deep and meaningful experiences. You would play a game and maybe have a shooting experience, or Space Invaders or something like that. Maybe something like Tetris, where you're fitting pieces together, or there were actually some very cool storytelling and RPGs and all of that. So it's not to say that those games didn't exist back then, but the general types of games that you would expect to play were arcade games or similar such sorts of titles that weren't really going to expand your view of the world, or your view of society or cultural issues or historical phenomenon or anything like that. They were just kind of like pew pew pew, some pixels disappear at the end. So, are you gonna go watch videos with Daddy? No. No? Okay. You gonna stay on the live stream with Mommy? Yes, okay, that's fine. Sorry, for anyone who's just joining the stream or who's watching, I'm using a new app, and so I'm just kind of confused by it. So if you are commenting, I'm not seeing anything just yet, and I don't know if that's the app or if you're all just very quiet today. Anyway, so in the early days of gaming, I think that the games weren't really that deep and meaningful. Whereas over time, obviously, they've become that way. You now have games that really offer profound stories. I mean, I've had gaming experiences that have brought me to tears, in the same way that a book can, in the same way that a movie can. And you think about someone who's a film buff or a bookworm, or, is well-traveled, and all of those things are said in a positive light. It's always like, oh, well, they know about the world because they've read lots of books and traveled to lots of places and maybe seen some quality films. But no one is like a good player, a play junkie, a gaming phenom. I mean, it just isn't really a term that's thrown around in the sense of like in a positive light. And so I think it's something that we need to change because. So there was an article I read recently in games industry, and it was quite intriguing because it was basically making the argument that typically we've seen games as escapism. So you escape from the real world to get into this pretend world of gaming, and that is a decent argument and was definitely viable the way that games were before. But in this article, so it was a bunch of developers out of the UK who were saying, if you create an MMORPG, like a World of Warcraft kind of game, and you get, say, 500,000 or 1 million people to log on at the same time, that's not escapism anymore. That's its own country. Like, that is the world when you have that many people taking part in it. And those experiences are profound and are meaningful to the gamers who engage in it. And the relationships they build with each other are real. Like, yes, maybe they're built in a virtual reality. Maybe they're built in a digital experience, but they're no less real than the experience I might have, on WhatsApp messaging a bunch of, fellow mommy bloggers who I chat to throughout the day. It's the same essential thing in terms of you're still connecting with another human being on the other side of that game. It's just the mechanism or the platform that you're using to do so. So I think, Harley, do we eat books? Is that a good idea? So I think this is the thing is like, previously, let's not eat the book, please. Previously, those kinds of deep and meaningful experiences were only really available in certain media. So they were available in books, and they were available in real life, obviously, one would hope. But I mean, even people I know who in real life have traveled extensively can be shallow or or not have gained as much from it as others who maybe had those same opportunities. It's not like, oh, well, I've got 12 stamps in my passport, therefore I'm sophisticated or I'm worldly. It's that, if you take those experiences and you take them on board and you grow from them, then you might be considered well-traveled and more sophisticated. And the same would be true of books. So if you sit and you read a library of books, but you can't really talk about any of them and nothing really sinks in or nothing really changes you, then you might as well have not read those books. And I think the same is true of gaming. Like, you can sit and you can play a game and it can be a form of escapism and you enjoy it and then you move on. And that's totally fine and viable, and it's not a judgmental thing like, oh, you're not a real, you shouldn't be gaming unless it has a deep and profound influence on you. But I do think that some games can be really deep and meaningful and can really shape you as a human being in the same way that travel or books or movies can, if not even more, because I think the experiences that I've had in gaming are that much more they're absorbed in a different way. When you're actually the active participant, when you're so deeply involved, it's really different from when you just, passively read a book or passively watch a movie, or even, if you travel and you're not the one really going out of your way to see more and understand more, but you just kind of tick the sites off as you go, it might not be as important an experience for you. So I think that gaming has the opportunity for it, but it's almost like the stigma that still exists for gaming that we have to overcome. So, it's been a long time coming, but games, are seen as more and more viable, as more and more important. No? Are they not? Are they? Are they not? Are games important? Yes. Games are increasingly seen as important and in a viable medium and a valuable way to spend your time, but or at least a popular way to spend your time. But I think that it should be something where at least certain games are encouraged, that there is a distinction made between those games that could improve someone's empathy or improve someone's decision making skills or improve someone's spatial awareness and say, hello, and say, these games are of value in the same way that we do with books. I mean, like, I read tons and tons of books, and I know when those books are quality and are expanding my vocabulary and my creativity and my sense of the world, and when those books are really just junk and mindless reading and entertainment. And yes. So I think, why should it be any different in gaming? Like, there's room for both. There's room for games that are, that will elevate people and that will help them become more, that will make them more aware of the world and more understanding to other people. And then there are those games that are just, mindless fun, escapism, whatever else you want to call it. So I think and it's a distinction that's really hard for people to make, because fans will always be like, well, my game is great. And it's like, well, yes, your game is fun, but maybe not, really going to make anyone a better person. But I think this is the other issue, is like, reading has built into it this sense that, some books are just for information, some books are for entertainment, and some are for a combination of both. Whereas gaming, at its core, always has to be fun. Like, it has to be enjoyable to play a game, otherwise no one would do it. And so I think that while, you might be able to distinguish a game that's purely for entertainment versus a game that's, more varied and can offer a deeper experience, and I just think that at its core, it still has to offer fun gameplay. What is this? Are you finding all the medicine on Mommy's desk? Is that what you're doing here? There comes Daddy. Here you go. Here we go. Bye, Harley. See you later. She is still refusing to sleep. I don't think I'm ever gonna get to sleep. And now the screams. So I think this is the thing. So with books, there's kind of this sense that whether it's a classic or a classic that's considered important and would make you well read, or it's just a trashy airport sort of novel that you pick up to read on the beach, the mechanism is the same. You're going to sit and read, and maybe you'll turn out informed, maybe you won't, maybe you'll be entertained, maybe you won't, but, people are happy to pick up a book that they know won't be entertaining, but they'll feel better about themselves by the end, or they'll feel like they're more well-read, or it meets some sort of goal. And the same, to a certain extent, can be true of travel. Like, it's really... some people are beach holiday people, some people are mountain holiday people, some people like cities, other people don't like cities, want the country or whatever it might be, want to go hiking. But then, there are certain attractions, there are certain landmarks that it's like, well, you have to go to see such and such if you're in this area, and people go, even if it's not really their vibe, because it makes them well-traveled and makes them understand the world better, supposedly. And so I wonder if the same wouldn't ever be true of gaming. Like, could we get to a point where there are games that are played because they're important and they help you learn about empathy and they help you learn about character and story and all the rest? Or will it always be the kind of thing where games have to be entertainment first and all those other things second? And so you'll never really be like a well-played gamer in the same way that you could be a well-read bookworm or a well-traveled citizen of the world or what have you. So I think it really depends on the purpose behind the games and the expectation that people have for them. As long as we go into it with like, oh, this game was really fun, and by the way, I also have more empathy, or I also happen to learn a lot about history, or I also happen to do that, that's fine. But I think then we're never going to have it where you have this expectation of like, oh, if you want to be a well-rounded human being, if you want to be, grounded or aware or whatever else, you'll have had to have read these and these books, played these and these games, and traveled to these and these places. And I just don't think the gaming part is there just yet. Mainly because I can't also imagine myself ever wanting to sit down and play a game that wasn't fun. Like, why would I sit down and knowingly play a game that wasn't fun just because it might make me be seen as like a better kind of gamer? That just seems silly to me. So I think that's one of the big hurdles. Hey, is that your foot? Oof, are you getting your foot tangled in Mommy's gown? There we go. Oh, there was a little string wrapped around her toe. It's okay. Wait. Mwah. Kiss it better. Mwah.
Bad, Mommy. Bad.
What?
Bad
what?
thing. Bad.
Bad gown. Was the gown bad? Oh, poor baby. Okay. Someone is very tired. So I think I'm going to call it a night and try and get someone to fall asleep and be happy. But this was my little chat about why I think that gaming is considered so different from books and from travel, and why I hope that it ends. Like, I hope that we do one day have games that would make someone a well-played gamer. You know, that it becomes a thing of like, ooh, have you played Mass Effect? Have you played Horizon Zero Dawn? Have you played Valiant Hearts? Have you played Civilization? You know, the list goes on in terms of games that are really meaningful and interesting and help someone understand history and human emotion and context in a different way. And I would hope that one day those kinds of games could make someone a well-played gamer as compared to just an average gamer, in the same way that books and movies and travel can do. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please all wish me luck. Send me best wishes to try and get this tiny human to fall asleep. And I will chat to you all soon. Say bye-bye, Harley. Hi, Miles. Say bye-bye. Oh, bye-bye. Thank you all very much for watching. And if you haven't already, please do the like, subscribe, share thing. And I'll see you all again when I go live once more on Sunday at 8 o'clock South African